All right, guys, welcome to the conversation.
What's up? What's up?
It's so good to see y'all.
Good to see you.
All right.
Good to be seen.
We're going to start over there today with Lady G, the world's best G doggy mommy.
What's up, Lady G?
All is well. Just making it in from work. Didn't have too much going on this weekend, but we did celebrate my husband's 51st birthday.
Nice. All right.
My Bible study group, we came together and we met out at the ranch over here in Irving. Okay. Had a really nice time. So I thought it was a surprise, but I don't think I could ever pull anything over on him. So
Can't hold water.
Yeah, we were all there, and when he was the last one to come in, and he tried to act like he was surprised, but I really think he knew.
Yeah, he won an Oscar, huh?
Yeah, I can't pull no wool over his eyes. But it was nice, and he thought it was just so thoughtful that they all, we all came together and just celebrated him.
All right.
For that day. But we had a good weekend, a lot of good sleep.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome. You
got
need
a lot of
that.
good rest, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, so you had a good
Too
time.
much of anything else. Just hung out.
Just hung
Okay,
out.
so you're on target with what we've talked about, what we're talking about tonight, and we're going to let Amazing Maze talk about that in a little bit. But in the meanwhile, before she tells us about the show, after Epic, I'm going to go to you, Amazing Maze, and let's talk about your weekend. I got some stuff from you over the weekend, too, some exciting things that your friends are doing. But tell us about your weekend.
What's up?
You don't remember what you sent me? Oh, my goodness. Go ahead.
The weekend, I was actually off for spring break. Really interesting week, very productive. Worked on some books. My events that are coming up. The one in April, which is the Storytellers Workshop series. It's going to be in Texarkana, April 7th.
Cool,
and then I have another one the next following week, which is in Little Rock, Arkansas. It's my cousins. We're doing the Dream Board Jam.
Yes, very
18th.
good.
So that's on April the 14th. So I'm just preparing, getting my materials together.
Okay.
And
let us know about that, because I got a lot of cousin them folks. Cousin them, y'all. Look. I'm from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. I have a lot of cousins and relatives in the area, so I'm quite sure somebody would stop by. So let me know so we can invite them.
It will definitely be on the conversation page.
Okay.
I'm gonna post that.
Okay. Very good. All right. Mr. Epic.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Just because I'm in a slump don't mean that. Let me sit on up here, because this doesn't really portray how I'm feeling. I'm feeling really good, y'all. I'm feeling rested, revitalized, restored. So I needed a spring break, y'all. So got a lot of rest and got my. It was a good feeder to go into spring break after the show, because we were talking about health and restoration. Had I not had the show, I wouldn't have really implemented it. I would have did business as usual. But I kind of forced, the Bible says he'll make you lie down in green pastures. So I kind of just laid down there and just enjoyed rest for a rare time in my life. So, and then I worked out more, spent time with my children, all of that. And I'm just ready. I'm revitalized. I feel like I'm a brand new man.
All right. Oh, wow. Brand new man. Y'all heard that? Well, I guess if you're a brand new man, I'm a brand new woman.
You're a brand new woman.
I had an extraordinary time. I went out to Atlanta, Georgia. Had a chance to visit my baby, and we had an awesome time. Just some family time.
To show, too.
Some good old family time. Yeah. And I just think about how quickly time is moving.
It is.
But we still have to enjoy, guys. And so a lot of peace and rest over the break. And I'm excited. I know you guys have seen this on my Facebook page. I'm sure with everybody else. And I just text PK and I just text Angie. I don't know if they're watching. I know Angie's doing her thing somewhere. But this is PK and Angie Ransom Jones, and this PK Williams is my client. Remember, I kept telling you guys about the Carter High movie. He was portrayed in the Carter High movie, and his book is about to be released next month. Guys, we're getting closer and closer. And one of the amazing things about this is that PK is an extraordinary guy, and his story is a story of triumph in the face of adversity and what he had to go through, but it's awesome. And you can pick up a copy of this. This is Southern Dallas Magazine. Right. And he is featured with Angie next to him. And in the inside, you look at it, there's a picture of him and his beautiful wife. And a nice story, the spread. So if you have a chance, you can go by Barnes & Noble and pick up a copy of the Southern Dallas Magazine and check out my client. Yay! PK Williams, okay? For Simone Publishing, SimonePublishing.com, SAMONE Publishing.com. I'm just getting free advertisements right now.
Okay. I'll be on the conversation page.
Okay, thank you so very much. Okay, now Maze, amazing Maze. Tell us what's going on, what we're going to talk about tonight.
Oh, yes. Tonight, part two. Self-restoration.
Oh, part 2.
Mind, body, and spirit. And we're looking at tonight the spiritual and the social, the psychological and emotional aspect of this. And we'll start off with the, let's see, I think we'll start off with the emotional and psychological.
Okay.
Our inner self, our inner being.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And when you take a look at that, you're looking at different things. Self-regulation, as we talked about. Self-accusation. You're looking at your process and thought about you as a person. How you see yourself. The reflection on the inside. Self-worth, self-esteem.
Exactly.
So those are some things we're looking at. It's kind of combining there together. But those are some things that we're actually looking at.
All right.
And, you know, in the past, in our other shows, we talked about self-worth. Which is really important, and self-esteem that goes along with that.
Gotcha.
And in many situations we've gone in, sometimes we may lose our self-esteem based on what's going on, how we see ourselves, and may not always see that worth. And then sometimes we find ourselves and we gain that self-worth eventually. So it's so many components to this, and we deal with these things every day. In our relationships,
it's
trying to hit goals, where we fit in at work, just in our circle.
Exactly.
So we're looking at a lot of things.
All right.
Yes.
Well, that's pretty interesting to me, because I started teaching my course. I teach at UNT in Denton. And so guess what I teach, guys? I teach graduate students. And so the course that I'm teaching right now is organizational theory. And it hits it right on the nail with what Maze is talking about. I'm just going to talk for like 2 seconds to 2 minutes. It's like a theoretical framework background. When you talk about self-actualization, I know you guys, and Maze, I know you're a psychology major, and I know a lot of it. We think about these things, and we think about psychology, and we know about Maslow's. They talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, okay? But actually, he really didn't, there's a little triangle. He didn't really do the triangle. He only talked about it in his paper, talking about the needs of humans, okay? But he mentioned a hierarchy one time. But somewhere it evolved that people started talking about this. I know y'all remember this from school. The first thing that a person needs to have to take care of is the physiological, okay? I have to eat. I need air to breathe. I need to have that in order to sustain and survive. I need water, right? And we're going to move it on up to the next thing when you look at physical needs, and then you have to look at the next thing. When we talk about people and how we sustain, you have to think about the need for shelter. I need a house to live in. I need a place to be. I need a place that's comfortable, whether it's a home, whether it's even, unfortunately, people sleep in cars.
Yeah.
But they still need the shelter.
They need,
People who live on the streets, they live in boxes, but they need the shelter. And then we move up a little higher. This is going to be foundation what we're talking about tonight, y'all. Y'all shouldn't have done this to a professor. Then we move up a little higher, and you talk about love. People have a need for love.
Gotta have it.
There is a need for it. We are composed to feel the need for love. And then after love, and then Maze hit it on the nail, again, amazing Maze, we're talking about the self-esteem piece. How do you feel about yourself?
Yeah.
Okay? And then beyond self-esteem, on this hierarchy of needs, we have self-actualization. And baby, that's when you get down to, I ain't worried about nobody else. I'm doing what I'm doing. I heard Lotus talk about purpose and doing things for other people, for humanity. It's beyond you, me, us.
Right.
It is what we do to impact others or what we do ourselves that's going to make a big difference. And we're not worried about what other people do or say or think, the constructs. We're not concerned about what the media is saying. Our mind's not made up just because someone's opinion is this.
Right.
That's self-actualization.
Yeah.
So I'm ready to talk tonight. Y'all ready?
Bring us in there, man.
She's back. It's red. I'm hot too. I want to take this jacket off. All right. So we started. What you all want to start from the bottom? Let's talk about just the need that we need to feel secure and shelter. What do you think about that, Evan?
Man, safety and security.
Yeah.
Man, to me, if you're looking at a spiritual aspect, that's kind of one of the needs that God gives us. He's our place of refuge, our hiding place, and sometimes we need to, tap into our faith when we're, even David said, "My heart is overwhelmed. Lead me to a rock." That's
wow.
So
y'all bad tonight. Y'all
safety and security is what it is, because we know what the absence of that looks like. When you're not safe, you're feeling anxious. You're feeling.
Exactly.
You don't know what's going to. And it's on your job. You don't know your job is secure. In your health, you don't know what the doctor is going to come out. What kind of report he's going to give you.
Right.
Whether your wayward child is out there doing whatever. So that safety and security is there. It's real. It hits all aspects of life.
Wow.
But when you can rest and know that, man, all is well. It does something to you. It does. I mean, it really relieves you to think creatively, to be innovative, because you can start flowing once you can get outside of that safety. So I believe that. I believe safety is everything. And you got to fight for. Again, you got to fight for that thing sometimes.
Right.
Wow.
Make sure your peace, your territorial peace, is maintained. Yep. What do y'all think?
Stick a needle in it. Don't pass it on to me.
We've all felt that. Growing up, there were some times in our lives when we felt, that we were on our own, trying to figure it out ourselves. And that's why, if you don't have that relationship with Christ, you are out there all alone, all by yourself, trying to figure this world out that we're living in. But that safety. Safety that God gives us, that covering that He gives us each and every day. That is what we need.
Wow.
For us that desire it, that's just amazing, because He gives us the desires of our heart.
Ooh, what y'all preaching now? And everything. We've been off with some rest. Wow, ladies.
That's our relationship.
All right.
Yeah, that need, and that want that we want. So
yes. Yeah. Okay. Amazing Maze. You started this. We talked about rest. You brought all this other stuff in.
Gotta roll it out on the rest. Oh, I tell y'all, just that inner peace that you have when you just let things that are out of your control go.
Ooh.
You care about people, but you don't let it become your problem.
Uh-huh.
You have more clarity and focus on what you need to do, your purpose, your goal, what is driving you to accomplish what it is you need to do for humanity, not just only for yourself and family, but for humanity as well.
Exactly.
That's an awesome thing. And I tell y'all, when I was just last year just trying to work it out and set my goals and knowing what I was going to do, and then, you know, life happens. You have those blessings and prosperity
That's right.
come, but you also have Mr. Adversary that show up.
Oh.
You know that what you're trying to do, the goals are so much bigger. Everything, your purpose, everything is so much bigger than what you're going through. And you feel peace about it, and you be like, oh, okay, whatever. What else I got to do? And you just move forward because you know what it is that you. Some people know why they're on Earth, what their purpose to do. Not everyone have found that yet, but it's just you feel serene, you feel so much better. And I was just telling one of my friends that last night there's so many people like y'all. I'm like, y'all really don't even know. I was at home. I left, not to take up so much time, but I left a Toastmaster contest, a speech contest, early that day. And I went home and I said, man, this is such a blessing. All these people that are important to my life with the radio show, y'all as a family.
That's right.
And I said, well, I need to learn more about financial literacy. And Dr. Steele came in.
Oh, Ralph came in.
Came in and taught me a lot of stuff. And then Lotus and then you with marketing, advertisement. It's just in the book and, you know, publishing and stuff. It's just so many. I mean, people just coming left and right. I was like, woo. And y'all, I had just got up. I was just like, thank y'all. And I was just felt it because I'm like, man, I just took that step. I took that faith and I stepped out and I said, let me just build my website. Let me do this one event.
Exactly.
And just everything else starts
coming. Everything starts coming.
Ooh, that just feels so good. Because I know I'm not just only doing it for me, but I'm doing it for other people too.
Exactly.
But I just feel so peace. Like the doors, and I can see stuff coming prophetically in dreams, just glimpse.
Right.
That's how deep that is.
That's good stuff.
One thing you did say, though, you talked about how adversity comes. Let me tell you, let's be thankful for adversity. Because if it was not for adversity and challenges, we wouldn't get to the point that we want to be in whatever we're doing. It can be something very simple. But if you don't have any challenges or adversity sometimes, what's there to do? Everything comes easy. When everything comes easy, you know, it's you got to work for some things. You got to toil through some things. You have to have some struggles and some pain. And when you do that and you're working towards something, when you get what you're trying to accomplish, when you receive it, it's more meaningful for you. Because when you think about people, I think about PK's stories. His story, he spent 3 years in prison. He goes down to the day, okay?
Wow.
His prison situation turned around has been one of his biggest blessings. Okay? When I think about myself, domestic violence, being a survivor, we're all survivors, right? And think about how it has impacted me. I do some of the things I do out of adversity, of what I had to do with a challenge. Epic, I know you have one. If you think back your days, even being a professional basketball player, you did not become a professional basketball player just by just throwing the ball up. There had to be adversity and challenges. And Lady G, you know, the same thing we're talking about, our stories, your struggles. And I think about your story when you talked about you were a teenage mom. You're so transparent on this show. But you got your baby that Howard University graduate. She's an attorney now. You have God birthed you a blessing. So sometimes when things look the way that they look, it's because our blessing's coming on the other side. If we continue. So thank you for the adversity piece, Amazing Maze, because that's what gets us where we are today.
That's right. That's right.
You know, and not to interrupt you, today I had saw this post, and it just really touched my heart because, you know, we all go through things. And it says, when you replace why is this happening to me with what is this trying to teach me, everything shifts. And, as we live this life, it's going to be a lot of adversity. It's going to be, it's not always going to be good. Things happen out of our control.
Exactly.
And one thing, I've been going through this last month is it's just been a trying time just in life. I won't go all into detail, but it's just having to really lean and trust God. When you think that you can handle it, and it wasn't never meant for you to handle.
Yes.
He's waiting for you to seek refuge with him. And so, and that's what I've been dealing with here. And then when I saw that today, I was like, Lord, I just got to give you the glory. Because it's not about me. It's all about what you would have me
That's
to be.
right. That's right.
What level are you trying to take me to? What is it? Where are we going with this? And I had a pleasure of having my health coach's mother call me, and she prayed with me the other day because she knew. She knew that I was going through something, and she took that time. She said, God gave me a word, and she spoke it into my life, and I could just feel the love of God through her, because I was just like, man, because I really, really needed that. I needed to hear that word because she was dead on.
Wow.
And I just thank you, Tish Hudson. I appreciate you so much. But that just sparked something in me. It's like, come on, Gloria. Come on, let's move with this.
It makes a difference.
Let's go with it, yeah. Because we just never know what God is doing, through us, because there's purpose. If you don't know that there's purpose in your life, there is a reason you are on this earth, and it is for God's divine purpose.
Somebody need to hear that.
God's divine purpose.
We need one of our callers to call, our viewers to call in at 972-882-6146, 972-882-6146. And I see some folks there. Herbert, come on home, boy, Herbert. Herbert Coles. I hope you're still watching. Herbert Coles, call in, 972-882-6146. I know you can talk about that thing that we're talking about, this spirituality piece. I know you have a word for us. Quit playing around and call us, okay?
I like what Dr. Simone mentioned about the adversary, the opponent. We're all going to have that. And I used to call it the bully. They want to have that flagpole experience where they had to, at 3 o'clock it's going to go down. I'm going to have to face it because, your mama tell you, hey, if you don't face that bully, it ain't going to do nothing but get much worse for you. So I'm appreciative of those times when you had to just get out there. You didn't know if it was going to be a W or a L, but you knew a fight had to happen. And so, but I appreciate that. We always used to seeing that bully as being external, but I like to take it a difference and take a look at it internal, your internal opponent. What if the enemy is you? And just like what she said,
you're hitting on self-esteem and all that right now too.
Getting in your own way.
Because I remember last week's show. This is a part 2, right? So last week's show, we were talking about even the transformation. Oftentimes, change is fought by us. We fight change. We become its biggest opponent, and so I think that. Even let's say weight loss, like Lady G, and she said, "Hey, I've done some it wasn't just a diet; it was a transformation."
Yes,
that had to be. There were some challenges. The old you wanted to stand up and fight the new you, and sometimes you got to bring this. It's easy to fight someone else, but fight yourself with your own diet, with your own lifestyle change. Man, that's a fight. Just think about the habits that we have. We got some habits, y'all. We got some personality habits that has come passed down from Mama Neil.
Wow. My mama's watching right now. Oh, Mama, you heard him?
Just like your mommy, just like your daddy, and we know it. We know it. But God is doing a new thing in each one of our lives, and so my thing is, can we fight that thing, and do not resist the change? Because, I remember I just recently saw Bishop Jakes. He was talking about the Qs. He was talking about the IQ, the EQ, and I didn't know about the AQ.
Okay, but what's the AQ?
Adaptability quotient.
Oh, adaptability. Okay,
You know, how we're able to adapt to various
That's a good one.
changes that's coming in our lives. So, man, being able to adapt is essential because, you know, life has its courses, and God wants to get us global.
Right.
He wants us to see more things, do more things, and think bigger than we actually do. And sometimes our small thinking, He wants to get us out there to do more because He placed more in us.
You know, and I was just listening to what Maze was talking about earlier, too, and she talked about how she's had her blessings, but she said, thanks to all of us around the table. A lot of what we do, you know, the inner us, has a lot to do with who surrounds us. You know, we talked about this whole thing about the sum of the total of the people you're around. This equates to you or whatever.
Right.
But a lot of it has a big impact on what we do and how we feel in the end. Because if you're around people that they're always talking negative, you'll end up talking negative.
Yeah.
If you're around people that are always talking about people, you'll end up talking about people. If you're around people who are talking about positivity, you're going to be positive. If you're around people talking about money, like you talk about Dr. Steele, I know Ralph, I know. If you're around people talk about money, you're going to know about money.
Yeah.
If you're around people that talk about the Lord, you're going to talk about the goodness of the Lord. So a lot of times, who we're around, either people are going to put us down or elevate us.
Elevate your game, man.
To a different level. Because when you're around people, it can kind of it put the pressure on. Because I remember years ago when Dr. Tracy Brown invited me to go eat with Angie here.
Okay.
Angie, I'm keeping this. Okay, with Angie Ransom Jones, best-selling author. Okay, she invited us to go out to eat every week. I'm not every month, and we for 6 months. We talked about our books. It must have been every week because it was more than 6 times. We talked about our books that we were writing. She had already written Single Mom PhD, and she was working on her second book, which is called Ebb and Flow. And Angie Ransom Jones was working on her book, Path of Peace, which is sold all around the world, in funeral homes all over the place. Everywhere you look, you see her book. And I was working on Beneath the Scar, Rise to Healing. But us just sitting down just talking about it, it birthed something new. And what really happened is Tracy finished her second one. She had her book signing. Angie finished Path to Peace. We had the book signing. Tracy finished her second one. She had the book signing. And she called me out. She says, oh, yes, Dr. Simone's book is going to come out this fall. I said, why are you telling people that? She put the pressure on me. She put the pressure on me, and I had to sit down, like you talked about goal setting, and make goals, and make it, and I wrote out my SMART goals, said my book would be finished at this time, and it was. And it was. So sometimes you have to surround yourself with people that are going to help elevate you to a different level.
Yeah,
I like
like-minded.
Like-minded.
We talk about that in our program that we're on. As far as us health coaches go, we try to surround ourselves. That's what we're always talking about, being around like-minded people.
Exactly.
Everybody, we're on the same train together, supporting and encouraging one another like we do. So
that's true. And we don't forget the saying. They say, if you're in a room and you're the smartest one in the room, something's wrong. We got to keep looking, elevating, not for elevation just for the financial piece, but elevation, like you said, but for how can I improve myself? Self-development, personal development. Yeah. And
you know, sometimes, I'm hearing Dr. Simone, sometimes this, you know, elevating your game and surrounding yourself with better people, you're going to have to look at the current people you have in your life and make room for quality. So you might need to go through your cell phone, your contacts, and start saying, you know, no, this person hadn't added. And put a plus minus if they added anything.
That's it.
From neutral on, they got to go.
Yeah,
because this is I like when you say that too, because I think about you talk about having Kool-Aid with Keisha or go to the White House or Statesman dinner. Sometimes Keisha can tell you a lot more than the person sitting at you at the Statesman dinner and give you added value if she's in the right vein. The positivity. You know, it's not about what she has and doesn't have, but it could be she's motivating you uplifting you, telling you, girl, you can do it. I'm so proud of you. And when you were playing basketball, I'm quite sure you had folks in the neighborhood. You know, what they call you? What they call you back then when you were playing? Cuddy. You know, Cuddy, man. Cuddy's gonna be playing, man. Cuddy's gonna be playing. Yeah. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Oh, that's true.
And they were supporting you. Sometimes your supporters aren't necessarily people right next to you. Sometimes there's people farther away, and they're in the background, still supporting you, talking about Cuddy. Those words are coming out, and guess what? Cuddy's going to play harder,
Right, I like that.
and he's going to ball. So we don't want to forget that either.
Yeah, they could be for, your friends can be for, your enemies can be close.
Exactly.
So you got to watch those two.
That's
people
right.
who are closest to you, it's like, wow. So I feel what Dr. Simone is saying. I'm saying with us, we are charged at this moment in time. You know, with the show, I love the show, but we're charged to do something about what we're hearing. All this knowledge around the table, just like I got these new chips up in there. we're charged to make a change.
You know what? He's trying to, it's a lot of carbs. It's a lot of carbs. But you know what? I was looking at the calories. It's supposed to be healthy, though. It's veggie, Chris, right? We're talking about the veggie thing and not the meat thing. Some people go on a plant-based diet, so you're trying to keep us aligned, right?
Yep.
Because what we eat has a lot to do with the spiritual man. What we eat has a lot to do with the physical man. What we eat has a lot to do with how we think and how we feel. So let's not forget the diets, ladies. I'll throw that over there to y'all. That's not my expertise, but you know, I'm quite sure. I know because when I eat better, I feel better. I look better. Yeah, you look better, and then you get beside yourself. You know, but that's all about what you put in. You know, so Lady G, you want to talk about the diet piece because that's a part of what we're talking about as well. I don't know if y'all talked about that last week.
You know, when I started this program, I thought it was just me needing to lose weight. You know, and I went to a convention here last June, and while I was at the convention, it was like I had like a spiritual awakening that this program was never about me. It was about me helping other people. And that's what I got when I left there. It was like, how many other people can you impact and help them to get healthy while you're yourself getting healthy?
Okay.
You know, and today, like I saw a young lady on the elevator, and she said, "Are you still losing weight?"
Wow.
And you know, and I said, "Well, I'm still getting healthy." I mean, and she was like, "Well, you've done enough," you know. And I was like, "But I don't know how she figured, you know, she can tell me what I've done enough."
Right.
But
For real.
But I was just like, "Oh, okay then," you know. But then I just left her to her opinion. But the thing is, you know, I have a lot of clients, you know, and I think, you know, this time last year, I may have, when I first started, when I went to convention in June, I had about 7 clients. About 7. And this year, I may have about 60.
Right.
And
That's
I'm
good.
just looking at, you know, how I have watched people that had no self-esteem. You know, they didn't have any support. And I became that one that stepped in and encouraged them, you know, and got them to at least try to get themselves healthy, you know, because they're on medication, they're sickly. And that's all they desired is like, I don't know when was the last time I ever felt this good. And, you know, like one of my aunts, she sent me a message just yesterday. And she was just telling me about how her day went, and I just wrote her a love note back, and she said, "You are such an inspiration." You know, but that was because my health coach was an inspiration to me. So it's like a ripple effect. If you're showing that love and support, then just like you said, it'll just keep going. If you keep giving, you know, love and support is going to continue on. And that's what we do. You know, and if for anybody out there that is needing to get healthy, not so much about losing weight, because the weight's that's just an added bonus, but getting healthy and getting yourself in a good place in your health. You know, when we talk about healthy mind, healthy body, oh my goodness, it's the best feeling. Because I mean, when I was growing up, I was a cheerleader, I was a track star, and then for a while I even was an amateur bodybuilder. But I feel better today. I feel better today because I'm healthy. I'm eating good. You know? So, I mean, but anybody that needs help,
I know that's
just reach out to me. You can hit me at eternaltransformation2016@gmail.com. I'd love to see if I can do a free health assessment on you and get you to a good place and get you at least started in the right direction as far as your health is concerned. I'd love to help you.
Wonderful, wonderful.
really
Thank you
good.
so much, Lady G, for that information. So we want to continue some more. Maze,
Yes.
we were talking about our subject. Is there another component that we need to discuss that we haven't discussed yet?
On the emotional and
Do we want to extend that a little bit more?
I think we actually, we can.
Okay.
Let me go back to it. Y'all know I be multitasking.
Well, while she's doing that, Epic, let's continue that vein of what we've been talking about. We talked about the spirituality. I start off with the physical part that we have to take care of, our body, our need for water, food, air, Then we went on to the shelter piece, and we went on to the need for love. And then we talked about self-esteem. That's what you were hitting on a little bit. And then self-actualization. So let's hang on to either self-esteem, self-actualization, and there's something called self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is how well you do something and you know you're good at doing it.
Oh, boy.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
Interesting.
I mean, this is what I teach y'all. I'm just saying.
I love it.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
I love it.
What you do well. What you do well. Because it has an impact on how you feel when you do something well. And everybody has different gifts. We have a caller calling in. And but what you do well.
That's right. That's right.
Self-efficacy. What level of what you do well. Self-esteem is how you feel about yourself. Self-efficacy is how well you believe you can do something. Okay.
Oh,
And
I thought we had a
Okay.
comment.
Okay.
Oh, and I think that I like to start because I think how we see new challenges, come. So let's say now we faced a bully. We've been able to overcome some adversity that's both external and internal. Well, now we ought to obtain some level of confidence off of that. Right now, the March
Right.
Madness is going on, and everyone's brackets are busted, because you got David versus Goliath. And these little small schools,
Yes.
these guys hardly ever got recruited, and they're playing against these people, these top major Division I pro scouts are there to look for 'em, and this is their one shining moment.
Wow.
And so they look at themselves and say, we tie our shoes up just like they tie theirs up. When the ball goes up, they're there competing with a confidence that they can defeat this team that is more highly ranked than they are. And that confidence, you can see these people stay in the game and even overturn somebody. And that's how you come up with a bracket breaker.
Wow.
So I'm looking at that in life, and you start seeing, man, those little small victories that you have, the little, because we all know that, confidence is a result of hard work and your preparation.
Exactly.
But in your preparation, there were some failures that took place.
Had to have some.
You had to have many of them. And so, but, having the ability to say, man, I know that I can do this, and the self-esteem will come back and say, I know that I'm deserving of it. I'm deserving, although I've been in a lousy relationship, and several of them, I'm deserving of a new chance, a new opportunity,
I know that's right.
a healthy relationship.
Exactly.
And that goes with everything. I'm deserving of a good job, you start, not that you're entitled.
Right.
Man, you just love yourself enough to say, hey, man, when it's not it. That's not it. Know when it doesn't necessarily feel your set of values that you have for yourself. So I appreciate you bringing that up because you take on tough tasks with victory in mind. Take saying, hey, man, I know I can, if it's a cooking, trying a new recipe, I know I can make this up. It may not taste good at the first time, but, hey, I'm going to keep on plugging away. And how many times do we do this in the other aspects of our life? Taking on challenges with a mentality that we're going to win and not lose.
That's awesome. Anybody else want to speak to that?
I'm just laughing because I think back, like I said, back in the day, I used to run, but I could never talk and run at the same time. I just could not do it because I felt like I needed all my eggs to get from my destination where I was going. I can conversate with you while we running. When we finish running, we'll talk.
We can talk.
I could never ever do it. So I had it in my mind that I could not do it. So a few years later, I became an aerobics instructor.
Okay.
And I was able to teach a class and talk through the whole entire class. Where I didn't think I'd be able to do that ever. And and now I'm able my talking down.
Right.
And I became good at
Right.
it. You know, I can teach a class out of this world. And so that's something that I look forward to doing again also.
Right.
So
teaching aerobics.
that's what, your self-efficacy
Yes.
that was just heightened
That's
because
it.
you were
Yes.
able to accomplish that.
Yes, because I didn't think I'd ever be able to talk
That's good.
and move at the same time.
I tell you, Amazing Maze, you want to say something before we go to break? Okay.
Once I tapped into a little bit of writing, and letting those thoughts flow from my heart and my spirit, it was good. It was so good that you get chills, man. You know what I mean?
I know what you're talking about.
Dr. Samaya, you
I
should
know what you're talking
like
about.
that.
Yeah.
You write
It
books
takes you
over
somewhere
here.
else. It does.
It takes you to a whole another level. The thing of it is, believe it or not, I have the fear. I had
Okay.
a fear of public speaking.
Right.
And it's not so much of the fear.
Yeah.
But remember what I was talking about?
Yep.
Of what you're thinking about yourself and
Right.
what others, are thinking about you.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I got over it, it was over.
Right.
It was over because I knew whatever I was given, downloaded into my spirit and my heart to write, I knew people needed to hear it and make a major impact.
That's right.
Transform lives. And once I came a jack out of the box, I had to go
Spring it up. And people remember that, right? Yeah.
I was a Toastmaster. Groom me. I'm ready. And everybody was coming. Mentors, coaches. Hey, yeah, you're doing good. Come on, I need you to do this. And everybody, come on, come speak here, come speak there.
And that's what happens. That's what happens.
And it still happens today. And I'm just so thankful that I just had faith to step out. But because I'm a visionary person, that give, I know I can do that. And any adversary, what? Really? What is that?
Right.
That's right.
I keep going.
You
No
know,
matter what.
I'm so glad to hear you say that because it's so true. And I just think about when I was a little girl. I would get up, my grandmother would take me to church, and then as I got older, about 12, 13 years old, you had to go to Sunday school, right? And you had to go every Sunday. And you had to go to BTU. You had to go to program at 3 o'clock. You had to do all these things. But I remember at the age of about 12 or 13, they started making me do the Sunday school review. Okay? And I was just thinking, hey, people got me to... But and the people would say it, baby, say it, baby. And those were informal people. They weren't formal people. I hear you talking about Toastmasters. But then I go back to there are people in our everyday life that can help promote us and inspire us and get us to reach our goals. Because, I told the story about when I was a little girl, I could not speak well. I could not say S's. I had speech. Believe it or not, I had to take speech. But the people in the church just saying, yeah, baby. And I felt, okay. First time, second time. And then after that, just went on with it, all through college, all through grad school, and through the profession to get me where I am. I've never had any type of formal speaking, but it started there in the church. Back to spirituality, back to people supporting. And they may not be formal in the profession, but they are uplifting and they get you where you need to be on the path. Now, I have to say something to my mother. She just put something on here, and I better read it before we go to break if you all don't mind. And my mother says she loves the subject, going through to get to where you want to be. God put obstacles in your way to make you increase your territory goals. And she also said, everyone wants to reach the top of the pyramid to be the best. Thank you, Mama. I know, that's where I got it from. Yay! I got it from my mama. Okay, thank you, Mama. And then I see that Laverne Polk, thank you for your comment. Jack, out of the box, a very good analogy. A very good analogy, Maze. Amazing Maze. And so, and she says, what is BTU? Baptist Training Union. Baptist Training Union, okay? So just want to let you know that Laverne is Baptist Training Union for all of us who grew up in the Baptist church.
Yeah.
But we're going to take a little break. We're going to take a 5-minute break, and we're going to have more to come. Please come back, and we want you all to call in. Laverne Polk, you're asking questions. Call in. Call in.
Joseph Davis, where are you,
Joseph,
honey?
call in. Okay, Andrew Ransom Jones, I talked about you earlier. I'm just doing a shout out about the cover. I already talked about that earlier. So everybody's waiting on PK's book to come out. So I just gave a shout out to you, Andrew. You have the show. I've been talking about you. But again, guys, please call in when we come back, 972-882-6146. We're going to take about a 5-minute break, and Miss Lotus is going to take us off the air and bring us back in 5. Thank you, guys. Welcome back to HighVibe Media and Marketing Group with the Conversation 5. We have Lady G here, Amazing Maze, Epic, and I am Dr. Simone. And we are talking about a great topic tonight. We're going to go over to Amazing Maze, and she's going to give you a little bit more information. But we're talking about, we want you to call in at 972-882-6146. 972-882-6146. Call in and be a part of the show tonight. Okay, Amazing Maze.
Yes. We cover the emotional and the psychological part of self-restoration. Yeah, let's go a little bit further. And we talked about spiritual. Life purpose, divine relationships. Can we add a little bit more to?
Sure.
Oh, we said spirit. But what about energy?
Wow.
Our energy and our spirit.
Don't start.
Okay.
Don't start, Amazing Maze.
Because this was really interesting. You know how we talk about the people we surrounded
Yes.
around?
Uh-huh.
And believe it or not, we can feel their spirit or their energy and know whether it's positive or negative.
Oh, yes.
Sometimes we get that vibe and we be like, I don't know. But then you have certain people you just connect with well.
Exactly.
Like how we just connected well together.
Exactly.
It's just the energy was very positive in here and it flowed really well. I remember when Obi gave me a call, I think it was on a Sunday. A Saturday or a Sunday. I think I was on my way trying to build a new Toastmaster club. And he called me, he had told me about the radio show. Hey, cuz, listen, I need you to be on this radio show, and we're gonna have some other people. Can you come out Monday? Can you come out
You sound
Monday?
just like him.
Yeah, cuz, come on out. I want you to be a part of it.
Sound just like
And I would tell y'all, when he told me about it, spiritually, it felt good.
Wow.
It felt good. I said, wow. That door of public speaking is opening up for me and so many other people.
That's good.
It just felt so good. You know how you get a feeling about certain things, it's just good, it just set well within you. And then you have, sometimes it's just not right. It's like, it's not sitting with me well. And you have to go with your feeling. Go with your intuition. Go with that spirit. Go with that energy. Because if you don't, we miss the mark. And we've all missed the mark sometimes. We just do. We're human. We just do. And you shouldn't let people talk you out of stuff. You always want to get their point of view. And some of them are very, very vital to get. Because sometimes you may not see it at many angles, but maybe you only see it one way, but then you have somebody else that comes in and may give you 2 or 3 different ways of looking at something. So you always have to be open-minded to that and receive what they're saying. But the end result, whatever you need to do, is what you need to do because it's your path. Your path only. Right.
Because it's a time when you know what you know. I remember when I was down in Austin going to school, and I was going to grad school, and there was this lady. There was this lady from my old church, not back home, but my old church here in Fort Worth. She told me, she said, God told me to tell you that you weren't meant to go get a master's degree. You need to, because my husband and I at the time, we were in 2 different places for about 9 months. Okay, agreed upon. She said, he told me to tell you, you need to be a wife and you don't need to be trying to get that degree. I said, well, if God told you, he would surely tell me.
There you go.
Okay.
My mom always say that.
And so I just think about where would I be now if I listened to that lady. Not everything that comes to you, or not everyone that comes to you that said, not everyone that comes to you that says God told me to tell you is really from God.
Right.
You have to beware. That's when I know the Spirit will give you discernment of what you need to do. And I'm not saying everyone that comes to you that says that it isn't so, but do know that everyone that does is not so, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And so I thought, wow, where would I be had I not? If I listened to that lady, where would I be?
Yeah.
And so you have to think about things like that and be careful about what people are telling you, because everybody that tells you something, sometimes people have motives behind the things that they do and the things that they say. I'm glad you said that about energy, because, you know, there's so many people, there's so many things when you think about the realm, about people who are very successful, whatever we want to call success, okay? One thing they would tell you is that things are about positive energy. You know, I don't like to talk about politics, but the whole thing about our President Trump, okay? And
just the name
of the United States, okay?
Did y'all see some darkness?
And Oprah Winfrey, okay?
Yeah.
Now, look, the battle going back and forth. But Oprah had to be the bigger woman, and she said she's not going to be putting all that negative stuff in the air. Okay? She's not going to try to fight him word for word for word for word. She left it alone. He kept going with it. Okay? So it has to be positive. I don't like talking about politics, so somebody might get upset about this. But what I'm saying is she chose to just stay positive.
Yeah.
Okay? Whether you agree with whoever's in office, whether you agree with those things, that doesn't matter. We have to choose to stay positive and have that good energy flow, because if we don't, we're surely to sink. So that's what I'm thinking about. I'm trying to stay away from politics, but you all understand what I'm saying.
So what do you do when someone, you know, we talked about energy, but what do you do when someone challenges your energy? You know, what is your immediate response? Let me throw that out there to the group. You know it's and maybe, you know, at your workplace you can't even choose who you work with. In your relationship, it started high, then it took a dip.
Yeah.
And you thought it would come right back up into intimacy. You know those levels is intimacy, conflict, and withdrawal. And you've been in withdrawal a long time. Flatlining. Flatlining. And so, you know, what do you do? What do you do? I know one thing. That's where my spirituality kicks in. You know, I didn't want to say. No, I'm gonna keep it out there. What do y'all do when it happens? Energy, opposing energy. You got it's.
For me, I've had to deal with this on one of my jobs overseas in Kuwait. There was a young lady that I work with, and I won't say her name because people are going to know exactly who I'm talking about. But she was that negative Nancy. There was never anything positive coming out. So you just know each day you came in, it was going to be an issue. Something. It didn't matter, you know. And so, you know, with me, when I get to work, you know, I used to be the first one at work because I like to get there early and get ready, get prepared. And, you know, so it felt, the room felt still. It was calm and it was peaceful. But then as soon as she walked in,
Wow.
hear her coming up the stairs, and it's like, goodness gracious.
Wow.
And it was just like, it would just suck the air out of the room. And so, and I always, the one thing that I had to do was, you had to put on, not like a fake face, but you had to keep yourself lifted up, because it was always a battle with her, you know. And I got the pleasure of training her, so, you know, it was even worse. But, you know, but I just kept at it. I kept doing my job. I did what I had to do. Kept it very professional. But it was outside of work, I just couldn't. I just couldn't let it in my space. Outside of work, I just couldn't. I just couldn't. And there was one time when I went and I just actually just sat down next to her and just talked to her and just asked her, where does this come from? Where does the negativity? It comes from somewhere. And then that's when she revealed to me that she didn't have a good relationship with her mom. She had a twin sister she didn't deal with too much.
Okay.
So, you know, so she's been hurt. And so hurt people hurt people.
Right.
That's right.
And that's what it is, and that's where it derives from. So, we just kind of, so you have to just kind of like stay focused and do what you got to do, but then you two got to just kind of, keep that at bay. Just keep it at bay.
Okay. Very good, Lady G. Okay, Epic, did you want to say something about that?
Well, just wanted to say with the energy, sometimes I just keep that level of joy. Some people call it being fake.
I
being
don't like
fake.
fake.
Well, man, sometimes you make that mandate of having joy, saying, I'm not going to let anyone steal my joy.
Your joy, yeah.
And so, I think that you can even add more, be deliberate about your peace, be deliberate about your joy, because you, at the same time, it's the same old people.
Right.
You don't know who they are.
Right.
It's the same vibe they're giving you. So if we know that, we got to go in saying, okay, it's just not going to happen this time. I can't give you, life is too short, and I can't. And every day matters. That's my 2018 theme. Every day matters. Every day matters. So I can't give you this day.
Exactly. And what I do is I just try to surround myself with positive people. I used to be around a lot of people and doing things with a lot of folks, but I really think about who I'm around now and what they're giving to me. Like you talk about that energy thing, Maze, because everybody that smiles in your face, guys, is not for you.
That's
and
true.
they can suck the life out of you if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, and even people that you can consider a friend, I've been hurt as a person. I've been hurt by people that I thought were friends. You do better. I do better meeting someone like Maze or Lady G that I don't know than people I've known for a long time, because it gets to a point, sometimes people, for whatever reason, they have a certain feeling about you or what you do, and they can't handle it.
Right.
And they can't. Some people can't handle it.
Can't handle your success.
Some people can't handle it, and it's so important.
You are so right.
My
They can
mother.
handle your failure, but they can't handle
They
your
can't
success.
handle your success. A failure, everybody will talk about it. They want to know about it. But success, and you know who's in your corner. And I say again, it's not always who's the closest to you.
Right.
And there's some people who are close to us who need not be close to us.
Right.
And that's why I'm very careful about who I let in my inner circle. That's why I'm so careful about who I tell personal stuff to, because people will take stuff, twist it around, and make it something else.
Right.
And it's something totally different from what you even
Stab
said.
you in your back.
Say it again. You already.
Backstabbers.
And so that type of thing happens. And I know Laverne made a great comment. She says, "I own purpose, watch for negative spirit, to not let that into my life. It's draining to let negativity in. It can destroy your dreams." And here's the other piece. And my mother says, and Laverne also says the Holy Spirit was sent to guide us.
That's right.
And my mother says, that's why you don't let everyone pray for you. Their prayers may not be your prayers. That's correct. Think positive. Okay? Okay? So those are good statements.
Oh, really?
So anybody else, I really appreciate them doing that. If you guys want to call in, let us know. The number is 972-882-6146, 972-882-6146. So, Epic, do you want to add any more?
Well, that's what this show has been for me. We've got together off the show. I'd like to have seen more of that, but we've got together after the show. And whenever you see quality people, even the Bible says, amen, those who want to have a friend must first show themselves as being a friend and friendly. So, just being we got together and we cooked and we ate and we fed and feasted and we locked ourselves in a room and did some challenges together, and and it was a good season. It was a good time of the year. So I just believe in investing in good folks, and that seed won't fall on shallow ground.
Exactly. It makes
a difference.
It makes a difference.
And being able to know who you invest your time with, I just really like around the table. So we have a caller here.
Okay.
Miss Polk, come on in.
Hello, Laverne.
Hello. How is everyone tonight?
Hello, Laverne. Welcome to the High Vibe. Did you have something you would like to add to our conversation on tonight?
Well, I was just saying, and was just thinking when the conversation was going on, it's just wonderful to notice that people don't really recognize negativity. They really don't notice that. And it's very important to watch the people that you allow in your life. I look at my life as a series of friendship. You have your holiest of holiest people that you can let into your inner circle that you can just really trust. You can't trust everybody.
Right.
You do have to be kind of watchful of that. But it's just wonderful that you all are discussing that, because my husband and I, we were just talking about the very same thing a couple of days ago, how you have to be the person God wants you to be. You have to live your life the way God wants you to live your life.
Amen.
And you have to be careful of people that walk into your life and say, God told me to tell you. Okay, that's good. He told you to tell me. You told me. Now, I'm going to make sure that what he told you is the right thing for me.
Right.
That's right.
That's right.
Very good. This is a very good conversation, and I just wanted to call in and just to say that. And I'm going to just get off so someone else can call, and I'll finish listening. But God bless every one of you.
Thank you so very much, Laverne. All right. Thank you. And you know, she did also say, I found you can counteract negativity by speaking words of faith and positivity. Thank you so very much. That's your auntie?
That is my auntie.
Very good. Very good, Ms. Polk.
I want to say this, and I want to say this. When you're not in tune, when you don't have a relationship with your God, some people, you know, it's many things. Some people may have Jesus. Some people may have African spirituality. It's different things that people may look into for spiritual guidance. It may be the universe. It's different things for everybody, and I respect that.
Right, right.
But if you're not in tune, when you're not in tune, know who you are, your worth. Understand your purpose. When you're not in tune, then you're not going to recognize different types of spirits or energy that's coming. Have you met people? Some have common sense, some don't have common sense, and they can't just recognize, and they constantly go through the same perpetual cycle, the same mistakes, because they don't know who they are, their words, tune in. You see what I'm saying? Y'all feel that?
It keeps going back to self-actualization. Know who you are. Know who you are.
Can I say just one more
Yes,
thing?
yes.
This is the thing I want people to recognize. And I just use myself for an example. Whew. My mother's dad's side. It's just full of ministers, pastors, evangelists, prophets, so forth. And that's just crowned all on that side of our family.
Are we cousins?
We're from high above, you know. So some things come in prophetic dreams.
Right.
Everybody spiritual gift is different.
Right.
Everybody don't know just yet, because they might not have discovered that just yet. But what I will say is this: when God gives me something, whether it's in a dream or He showed me, you know, visionary wise, He'll show it to me first. My mother or somebody that's close to me will come back and confirm.
Oh, yes.
And I'll tell my mother, thank you, because God had already given to me first. So sometimes people say, well, God this, that, and this. If God didn't say it, then it's, for me, I don't think it is what it's not. But don't discredit, but just, you know, just hear it. But if God don't give it to you first, because He going to give it to you first, and somebody's going to come back and confirm what God said it is. It's just simple as that.
Right.
Interesting.
And that's kind of how I look at that.
I like
Especially internally, if it feels good.
Exactly.
If it's right.
Exactly.
So.
I like the way you preference. You know, everybody has their own way of thinking. And that self-actualization piece, again, I have been raised a Christian. I was born a Christian. I plan when I die to be a Christian. You know, that could be any time soon or 50 years from now.
You
okay.
Geez, you got
you know.
the 90s.
But the thing about it is, even though I embrace my Christianity, I do not put down anybody else's belief, because I love the way that you preference that, because I don't like people to be so holier than thou that they put other people down, and it's almost like the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and then the main thing that you're supposed to do is uplift, but you're tearing someone else down because they don't believe the exact same thing that you do.
Right.
Instead of praying for that person.
Division.
And just leave it alone.
It's division. Amongst people.
Right,
Just
right.
because a person's not Christian, that don't mean you can't get something
Right.
from them, or they can help you. And some people really believe like that. And you shouldn't be like that.
Right,
It becomes just...
Some people talk about doing business with people. I know there's something. I have a former pastor, Reverend Dwight McKinsey.
You don't know how people are going to bless your life.
He said in church one Sunday, talking about playing the lotto. You know how some people talk about Christians shouldn't gamble, Christians shouldn't go to a casino, Christians shouldn't play the lotto. And he said this in church one Sunday years ago. He said, Pastor, what do you do about a person if they go and win the lotto? What do you do? What are you going to do about it? Are you going to take the money? Will you take the money? That's been gambling money. He said, sure, I'm going to take that money, because guess what? The devil's had his hands on it long enough. So it goes back to that thing that you're talking about. And I remember going to the leadership conference with Bishop Jakes a couple of months back. And one of the things he talked about is how sometimes we can be so steeped in our faith that we don't want to go outside of that dealing with anybody else. It doesn't mean that you have to change your beliefs.
Right.
Okay? And you can't make anybody else change theirs. Pro-abortion, against abortion. I know what I think about it, but I can't make someone else do whatever I think, whether someone's gay or not. I got to live my life, okay? So people get in all these battles and these wars over religion, Christianity, and spirituality.
Yeah.
But the main thing is, what about you? You have to pay account for yourself. That's that whole universal thing, however you want to look at it. I think it's important, but it's self-actualization, good old common sense like you talked about, Grandma says, what old folks say. But you just have to know for yourself, because you're the only one living your life. And so you can't get so steeped into everybody else. So back to Bishop Jakes, in the leadership conference, he talked about how people said they were not going to do business with anybody if they were not a Christian.
Wow.
And he said to the people in the room, he says, get beside the people. If you do that, he said, I would rather, this is what he said, I would rather do business with someone, he said this, Bishop Jakes, who's an atheist and is going to treat me well in business. Now, we're not talking about the church. We're talking about business.
Right.
In business, I'd rather do business with an atheist instead of going into a place and you have on the spiritual music, you got the gospel music on from way back, Mahalia Jackson or whatever, and you're about to rip me off.
Right. Yeah.
So we have to be careful about what we do. Doing business with somebody, does that mean that you're going to have to change your mindset? No. But that's that whole universal thing you're talking about, a person's spirituality.
Right.
It's for each individual. And somebody may be on fire hearing me say this, that everybody has the right to choose.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, but I mean, if you're on fire, oh well, this is my belief. So anybody else, I know you're in the ministry. So what do you think about it?
Yeah.
That's my belief.
Yeah.
And so you want to bring something to this since we're talking about this issue?
Well, just respect, being able to just respect people where they are in their life, in their walk. And so you have your belief, and they have theirs, and God is ultimately in control and the final judge and say so on everything. So that's my belief. It's not us to save anyone. You know what I mean? It's only God who's gonna ultimately win people over or push people away.
Right.
Because I don't have a heaven or hell to put you.
Exactly.
That's right.
So with Christianity, we lead people to Christ. They accept. That's what our beliefs. But someone else, they may believe in Buddha. But I can't make you believe in Christ because you believe in Buddha. So, and
you know what's really interesting as I continue my journey on with public speaking, and I have certain people that I listen to, and I noticed these two ladies that I always watch, and they're always on Facebook and they do their videos. And something that I really like that they do, they just use a universal language. They don't just gear towards one group of people.
Right.
But they use a universal language. And it was people making comments on there saying, well, you should word it like this. And it was something pertaining, a scripture out about, you should pertain it to this. Well, because she said it one way, it's the same thing. You're just using it, in a different way, different language, depending on who you're talking to. To really be honest, which is all the same. It's just, you may say it this way in Christianity, you may say this way in African spirituality, you may say it this way in the universe, but honestly, it's pretty much the same for the most part of it, to a certain extent. And I remember a lady said, I'm going to click you out, because she kept going on and she was getting like really religion on it. She was like, you know what? I'm trying to reach everybody, not just only one secular of people, but I'm trying to reach everybody. And that's what I try to do in my speeches too, because I don't know who's in my audience. And if I'm going to connect with people, I need to have a universal language. And I remember one time when I took this, it was a speaking class, my first speaking class at the Potter's House, and it's the same thing that the lady had told us. Because she was saying you can use scripture without saying where it's from. You can say certain things and, not say what it is, but you're using it. But you're using it in a universal way that everybody can connect. Because you can connect and be more effective that way than one way, because everybody have their different belief system, and they may get turned off because you're just so, all about this and all about that. You miss everybody else.
Right.
So, and I think that's very important anytime you're speaking to people. Everybody have their own way of doing things. Don't get me wrong. But you miss when you just, this and that and that. You miss everybody else that you could have reached. That's the only thing, but like for me, that's what I do, because that's what I was taught to do from that lady, and she was heavenly, Christian, and everybody was in there. But she said it's just certain places you go. It's certain places
that you do. And let me add something to that too.
I thought that was really interesting.
Exactly. Over a decade ago, we had a family reunion, but this is the difference. A family reunion is different because it's like you as an individual making choice. When you think about family, you think about family roots, and you grew up in Christianity, and so we had a reunion, and the question was, now we have some people who are Jehovah's Witnesses, some people who are Islamic and Muslim, and the majority are Christian. So somebody said, well, how are we going to do the prayer? Well, I said, we say the prayer in Jesus' name. That's what the family was. So that's the family. We choose in Jesus' name. They chose to go outside of what the rest of the family is doing. We're not mocking them or ostracizing them for choosing what they chose. But when you come to the family reunion, you're going to hear in Jesus' name. Amen. We can eat. Okay? But you still don't want to ostracize people. Now, they shouldn't get offended because they know the family was built on us believing in Christianity. Okay? So, but I would not impose that on anybody in a broader scope. Some people, like you have an audience of people and you're going to be talking with people, you don't do that outside of the realm of where you are. So that's how I feel about it.
Because I know being overseas, and I was in Kuwait, and I remember when I first went there, I was kind of scared because, being a Christian, we couldn't be open, about it. I didn't think we could. Anyway. And, I was there for 10 years. And I used to feel like, that we were going to get in trouble, because we tried to get together. And but they had churches, but I guess back in the day, the churches were like underground. They were in cities. But now they're not so much. They're not so much. People are having service in their villas, and there's, I never have heard of any uproars going on because of them. But, like you said, everybody has a different belief. It's how they were raised. Just like myself, I was raised Christian. That's all I know. I was raised Baptist. That's all I know. I've never been, and I know that I believe what I believe, and I believe it. Nobody can take it because I know that I have the power of the Holy Spirit. So I know the difference. So, but I can't say, what they're doing. But like you said, as long as they're doing it with their whole heart, and believing what they believe, I can't say, you're wrong. Right? I can't say that to them because, then I'll be putting them down and, what they've been taught.
Exactly.
And so it's all about us loving on one another.
That's
and
right.
then it may be a incident where, they may hear something that I've said.
Right.
Absolutely.
And it may change them.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
My sister-in-law just she just typed in, she said, a person should see the glory of God on you, and your behavior can be the very thing that makes them seek God.
That's
You just said it.
Yeah.
So
Just said it. Did you have something to say about that, Epic? We're going to get ready to wind down in a minute. We have about 6 more minutes to go, 6-7 more minutes to go. And if we have any callers who want to talk about this, 972-882-6146. Again, 972-882-6146. Give us a call. Okay, Epic.
Oh, I was just trying to say, Dr. Mark Spack said in one of his books that people are loyal to their territories and their kingdoms. Everyone has a preference within that territory. And, like, for example, with African Americans, if we wanted to have economic empowerment, and y'all have heard this plenty of times, hey, man, we need more black-owned businesses, hotels, hospitals, all this stuff, and we need to keep that wealth circulating within the community. Look at how much Black Panther gross now. It's in the billions, right? So look at all the money that's happening.
It's just started, too.
It's right, and it's new, and it's hot. And so just looking at that purchasing power, and just and people are loyal to their territory, whether it's their gender, men have their things towards men. They want to have rights towards me, and women want to have rights to. Everyone's loyal to their kingdom, and so I'm just real careful to remain loyal to the kingdom of God. How I was, because you're loyal to your territory,
Exactly.
not to be swayed, because it's more about. It's about you and who God has called you to do in your territory. So He can enlarge your territory. We were kind of talking about that earlier today, about getting your territory enlarged, where you can go overseas and go to different places and be the same. Be the same, and any changes that's going to take place, it's going to take place in and through Him. So that's the thing that I look for. I mean, if you're going to change your appetite, you're going to change your appetite for more of a healthy lifestyle. That change is going to have to happen within you. If you're going to change because you can be around a lot of people, and that's good. Be around a lot of people who will influence you positively, like Dr. Simone was saying, watching who you put yourself around, what your circle of support looks like. You're going to be able to see a change in yourself, but ultimately you're going to have to make the call. You're going to have to push the button. You're going to make the change. And so change happens within ourselves with the strength of the Lord. It's got to happen with His strength, because we can easily give up. We can easily want to throw in the towel. But it's that perseverance. And thinking about the religion sectors, there's love. One thing that connects all men, is what you were saying, is this love. Love is going to connect us all. And unfortunately, hate connects us all. So, some people, man, love to hate.
That's right. And you know what? That's a whole nother subject that we need to talk about. Love versus hate.
You know what?
Love versus hate.
I like you said that. I'm going to tell you why. During a break, I heard Michael Beckwith, I think was his name.
Michael Beckwith,
And
out of L.A.
I remember watching Oprah. It was The Secret.
The Secret, yes.
And she had the panel, Lisa Nichols, and so many other people on there.
Right.
I love this. I was at the gym, walking it out, listening to it. And something he said that I just loved. I had jumped. I jumped. And he said that mediocrity attacks excellence. And I like he said that, because he was saying in some cases that people, and we just talked about this a few minutes ago, people are okay if you are not on their level or right at their level. But when you go beyond them, they get
I'm just shaking my head. I'm shaking my head.
About your success, your shine, and everything else that comes with it.
Exactly.
They get afraid, so they attack you.
Exactly.
I said, what?
My grandma.
And that is so true. No.
My grandmother used to say, and I know we only have a few more minutes. I know we have a couple of announcements. This is something my grandmother used to say, Amazing Maze. She used to say, don't let people know what you're doing until after you've done it. We got someone here that has a radio station over here, this man back here running things for us. I'm quite sure when he and his wife decided to do what they did in radio, they didn't let the world know. They just did it.
Yeah.
And then people see it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes there's some things you don't let people know what you're doing until you've done it.
Yeah, I got that from a lady told me. She said, don't ask nobody about a business you never had a business.
Woo!
What I add to it, who want to be in your business.
Woo! Don't let anybody who's not in business about your business,
but they want to be in your business.
But they want to be in your business.
That's how we keep going every day.
Okay, we can end the show with that.
That's good. That's good.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And what's your name again? Don. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Don. Filling in for Lotus. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Lady G.
Oh my goodness, guys.
Oh, wow.
Because sometimes when you get a business, you go ask all your friends who are socially but don't have business skills.
That's right.
So you
That's
get
right.
an affirmation because they socially friends, they never did a resume,
Right.
business plan, never did a bank statement.
Exactly.
So you waiting on them to give you validation.
That's right.
Never been a business.
Never been in business.
But they the first one, girl, why would you do that? Boy, why would you
Right.
do that? So right then, it's already something against you right there.
Exactly. And even with that, even with business, it may not be the same business that you're in.
Yeah.
They may have a trucking company and you may have a clothing store. They don't know the ins and outs of a clothing store. They may can tell you some principal things about business as a whole, but it's not going to be specific to what you're doing.
But we got away from when we started our business was, we called it AT&T plan. Friends and family. We didn't share it with them. We didn't know. Because that AT&T plan, long as they own your plane, they want to use your phone. As long as you making money, they going to come to you. As long as you doing well, they going to get off your plane and go find somebody else.
Oh, we're going to use that one now. We're going to use that one. Thank you for the AT&T plan. We're going to use that one.
So we just have a few quick announcements for here at the High Vibe. We have Monday nights from 10 or Monday. I guess evening from 10 to 12 p.m. we have Speak Up. Monday night from 6 to 7:30 is The Conversation. We also have Monday from 8:30 to 10 p.m. Straight from the Hip. On Tuesday nights from 8 to 10 we have The Black or the Berry. Wednesdays from 8:30 to 10:30 The Situation. It's a live show at the Brick House Lounge in Arlington. And if you're interested in hosting your own show or advertising with HighVibe Media, or if you would like to be a guest, please contact us at 972-882-6146. Again, that's 972-882-6146. And April 7th, it's our time. It's going to be a luncheon from 11 to 3. And there's going to be networking, vendors, panel discussion, and giveaways. For information on vending opportunities and tickets, go to eventbrite.com. Again, that's eventbrite.com, and look up It's Our Time in Arlington, Texas, or call 817-680-0782.
Thank you.
And again, we thank you guys for listening in here at the High Vibe on The Conversation.
The Conversation.
The Conversation.
The Conversation.
And we're out.